video is brought to you by Letsynthesize Academy, the #1 place for practice-oriented courses for serious music producers.
Hey, Dan Larson here, welcome to the new Letsynthesize Sunday episode, and today I want to show you how to make your basses a little funkier like this. So like always, if you want to download this sound, check my Patreon, but I made a full start to finish Nausea style neuro drum bass course. Click here. Right now, let's jump into it. Okay, so here is your bass sound. It's quite a nice sounding bass. I mean, it can be very useful for different purposes, but you know, it's just a sustained kind of thing. But what I want to do with that is a little funkier. So first, let's go through this preset. It's a quite complex preset because it contains 3 layers. There is the sub, very heavily saturated sub. Now it's pulsating a little because we have the sidechain on that. So this is the sub. It has a high screechy layer and the main mid bass layer. So all together, so as you can hear, there is this little reverb tail coming from ROM. This is the first effect on the whole arrangement of this bass, so on the 3 layers all together. I have this FabFilter Pro Q where I took a reference bass loop and EQ matched it to have the same clarity that my reference bass was. So this is what it does. So as you can hear, without it, it's a little dirty. But with the Pro Q, it sounds nice and clean. Now another EQ. Treating the mids and the very highs especially. I have a flanger. This adds again a whole bunch of mid frequencies to it, and I love it honestly. Without that. Okay, and another flanger. So all together they give lots to the sound. Very dual, but with the flangers. Lots of mid frequencies. And a saturator to the end. So this is the process on the group, but the main operator itself sounds like this. So as you can see, I'm using not very complex FM here, a sine wave modulated by a saw and another sine. I think the envelopes are static, so they don't move at all. You can see the courses and stuff. And a bandpass filter and the LFO that basically tweaks operator A, and that makes a little glide effect to it. Because in the MIDI there is another bunch of pitch modulation. So this is it, as you can see. And I also tweak the volume of oscillator A. But the most important part here is the bandpass that I move with a macro. Okay, so I added the serum effects with a hyperdimension, a distortion, a double notch filter, a chorus and a flanger. And you know, LFO1 tweaks the second notch and LFO2 the first notch, and this is all on the modulation here. Just a slight effect in, and an EQ8 to chop off the load. So this is the mid bass. The screechy bass is a lot simpler, but it's basically the same. The only difference is that I'm using a lot higher frequency FM modulation on oscillator A, that is again a sine wave, and the modulator is a saw, but on course 12, so in the mid bass, the course of the modulator was only on 7. So this is all here, everything else is the same, and the sub is just a distorted sine basically. Okay, so once we get the sound, we have this one. So I resample that, it sounds like this. or something like that. And what I wanted to do with that is find some places where it looks like there is some sort of block or stabby sound is happening, and that is coming because of the sidechain that I disabled here. But right now we have the same sound. So what I love to do is, take some of the parts, for example this one, or this one. For example, I love this sound. This can be a one shot, works perfectly. Play some different rhythm with that. And this thing at the end is also very handy. What we can do, and what I love to do, is stretch it with the complex or complex pro algorithm, or even the texture can be very handy. Let's see the texture. And also we can play with the transposition. So this is a very nice technique to find good steps or good plugs or good sounds. I love to do this. But with slicing up the sound into different short shots can be a game-changing thing. Let's see, for example, like that. And you can play around with the same thing that you can see here. Just repeat some of the shots. I want to repeat this one. I don't really like this shot, so let's pull it back here. And with that, we can build this thing up. Obviously, I added some extra saturation and EQ and the saturation to the ads to avoid digital clipping. So this way you can make this sound to a very nice funky and rhythmic bass like this. How cool is that? Okay, so I hope you like it, and if you want to download this sound, check my Patreon for tons of other stuff, and check my Knows Your Style Start to Finish Neuro Drum Bass course on Letsynthesize Academy, and see you guys next time. Peace!